order. I'm going to ask for the adoption of agenda as amended. Councillor Curry. All those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. And the adoption of the agenda for July 14th, 2020, Committee of the Whole. Oh, wait, that would be this one. Oh, right.
We're looking for the adoption of the.
I got to go down to C, adoption of previous minutes of June 23rd, 2020. Everyone's seen it. Is there any concerns? Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Councillor Wilkinson, all those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Okay, we have no delegation. Reports from staff would be the strategic planning process matrix, correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't have too much to add. I think everyone's now generally familiar with the process at this stage. After receiving some feedback from members of council, we just placed that feedback here to show what we would perceive as council's guidance on the priority of the identified strategic action items on this list here. Some of them are new from our recent strategic planning efforts. Some of them were remaining from past initiatives. And so we'll just open the floor for council to discuss and happy to answer any questions if there may be some.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Through the chair, with a medium one for the campground investment plan, you know, for the Lions campground there. I was at a Lions meeting and they're really getting quite anxious to have services in there, and they were wondering if they should go ahead and do a plan of sorts or get a estimate of what it would cost, because this year we've really lost a lot of money with the COVID because the services aren't there, so people can't stay there. So I know it's a medium. I was just wondering if it is at a stage that maybe the Lions could work with the town to develop a plan and at least get a quote so we sort of know what our goal is, if the Lions can help, if they get a grant or something.
Thank you, through the chair. Yes, certainly in terms of the prioritization here, it doesn't mean that there won't be action or work done on any particular item. It just means when we're deploying resources or making choices in terms of investing time, we'll begin with those that are higher priority, but also to keep in mind that these will be assigned to various managers. And so some managers may have multiple items where other managers have less. I do know that there's a number in the parks area, although I think they're of a similar priority listing. And so I don't see any reason why they wouldn't generally be open to having that conversation with the Lions Club. Specifically, I would caution the Lions Club about doing anything without consulting.
Okay.
You know, the Parks Department to just make sure that we're in alignment with whatever I would hate for them to go forward and invest time or money or energy.
I think it would be a waste of time and money. We can work together because we did decide on this 2 strategic plans ago, 2 years ago. So I think it's just that they're sort of getting anxious, especially when this year we were held back from being able to take campers. Okay, so I will ask them to contact the town then.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? I feel it's well done. I think it's all summarized. I mean, we could virtually pick it to death, but the gist seems fine. So if anyone else has a concern?
No, just
Okay,
through me again.
Wilkinson.
What about the 3rd Avenue thoroughfare? Where do we sort of stand in that to make 3rd Avenue a thoroughfare?
Yeah, so that is reflected mostly, I think, in conjunction with the, or we've talked about it mostly in conjunction with the downtown revitalization and economic kind of activity in the downtown corridor. And so I would just suggest that we would be considering that as part of that process. And I'm trying to remember.
It's sort of a cost neutral thing, which is nice.
It was a fairly high priority on that. And so it would be something that we would be working on actively at this point in time.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Beyer.
Through the chair to administration, just thank you for doing this. I know it was a work in progress when we started on council that this wasn't here, and I certainly appreciate being able to see everything that we've talked about throughout the year on one kind of solid page that isn't just our strategic plan. And these are kind of the breakdowns of things that we're interested in and working towards, as well as, you know, as I ranked things and compared that to what this report was to what I wrote down. It was interesting that not everything was exactly how I thought it would be. So it's good to know around the table, you know, that we have different views and opinions and thoughts, and that it kind of got amalgamated together. So thank you.
Thank you. And administratively, this has been very helpful, in particular the prioritization, for us to know where to focus our efforts and which pieces to move forward. It's been very helpful. So we're looking forward to reviewing now after council's had an opportunity to take a look at this and redoubling our efforts on those items that are of a high priority and moving these balls forward.
Councillor Bevan.
Through the Chair of Administration. Now that we're moving ahead with putting crosswalk lights in the natural road to town here that came out there, where's the status on the one that on 4th Avenue there? Even though school isn't in right now, there's still a ton of people crossing there to get to different restaurants, stuff like that there. And I've got asked a few questions after it came out that there's going to be 5 or 6 going around the town here. What's happened to the one on 4th Avenue? So.
Through the chair, Councillor Bevan, I know that we had asked Mr. Schramm to look into working with the highways on what's possible there. I'll maybe ask Mr. Latour if he knows the status of it. Otherwise, we may have to get back to you with some information. But Guy, do you know the status of that?
So through the chair, transportation has told us that they have budgeted for it, but they're not giving us any direction in their timelines for when that will be actually moved forward and completed on their behalf. We have been in contact with them several times. They have said they budgeted for it, but there's no actual plan moving it forward on their end.
New year.
So we'll, through the chair, if I may just add to that, we'll certainly follow up to see what options may exist if the town is willing to fund that type of activity as well there. So.
Mayor, go ahead.
Just through Mr. Latour, are you talking about the 55th Street or are you talking the 47th Street crossing?
I'm talking about across the highway at Centennial Park.
Yeah, no, this is different.
Lights and
Yeah,
across.
sorry, we're talking about the ones by AAW
46.
down from the high school and the junior high there.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We'll touch base with Mr. Schramm, who's leading that effort, and I can get some information out to council.
in my conversations with Mr. Schramm, they were working with Alberta Transportation on a traffic impact study at that location for this summer. So so there's progress, and my understanding is we'll have an announcement imminent on 55th Street. So.
Did you have a follow-up?
No, I'm just going to say the same thing that I said.
Councillor Wilkinson?
Okay, through the chair, I'd just like to compliment on the things finished, not by my liking, but I went to the dog park for my grand dog and it was very wet, but it really is great, really nice to have that, very handy in town. And also nice to see that more sorted waste collection in the town facilities. I really appreciate that. So thank you for those initiatives.
Okay, does anyone else have any concerns on this right now? My only comment is good job. I like the way it's summed up, and Councillor Ballard, I would agree. We all had our list, but I believe what we see in front of us, I probably were 85% happy with the overall. We have different priorities, so thank you. And we'll move on to infrastructure and planning. RFR MP funding.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chair. Bringing forward a possible grant opportunity through the Federal or Federation of Canadian Municipalities with the Municipal Asset Management Program. What this grant program is an opportunity for us to bolster our existing asset management plan and possibly move forward with some software options that we currently do not have. The minimum amount of seed money for this grant would be about $12,500, which we would be taking out of the infrastructure reserve. The current amount in that is $2.4 million in that reserve currently. We were actually seeking about 25,000 in seed money to help us with our business, or asset management continuity plan, to come up with a more firm plan to move forward with this. But the remainder of the grant would be used towards the works program, which would support our public works and other aspects of the operations department to basically maintain continuity with our asset management plan and our operations.
Councilor Byer?
Through the chair to Rich, I suppose, or administration. So I think it's important to, my thoughts are that it's important to gather the proper information, and if the government wants to help contribute towards that, or not the government, sorry, FCM wants to help, then I'm cool with that. Question I do have though is how many more things are we going to have to do to support the asset management plan in order to continue gathering information? Is that something that kind of slows, like that we have to do so much upfront and then it kind of slows down a little bit? Like where are we in that, or how many other things would we expect coming forward, regarding the asset management planning and gathering information?
The asset management plan is a living document, and to maintain that living document, it will require a lot of input on our part. Some parts will be in terms of gathering information, other parts will be in terms of investing in the software that's available to support us. But ultimately, the idea being is that this will become a living document for the town to use for the everyday practices, everyday purposes, and that's the beginning of the works program. The works program would support all aspects of administration and operations to maintain a functional, living, breathing system that would fall in alignment with our actual assets that we care for. So, go ahead.
As you say, if I can add to that as well. I think that there's certainly a practical limit to the investment you make in data gathering in terms of time and cost and all that comes along with it. And each time I think we are just evaluating the cost and the return on investment in terms of what we feel we can do to enhance the asset management plan. For example, the road assessment work that we did this year, $100,000-ish, which we feel will save us hundreds of thousands of dollars even over just a 5 or 10 year period. And so yes, that's then something we feel is worthwhile. Another opportunity that we don't want to miss is when there's grant funding available to pay for some of the refinements that otherwise would cost us significantly more. But we are mindful of, the dollars. Some of them need to go into the good, hard, actual assets themselves, and it's really a balance between, curating a functional asset management plan and taking action on an asset management plan. And we're just, I think at this point, trying to be responsive to the opportunities we see in front of us to build the information. And I think it is critical to always remember that the asset management plan is directly tied to the data that is in it. And the better the data, the better the planning. And the works program in particular is a program where now when our public works crew is out and they're working on a road or a catch basin or a sidewalk, they can log that all in the works program directly tied to our asset management plan, which just makes it a lot easier to track and flow those through our decision-making processes. And sometimes it helps us learn what we are investing in a piece of infrastructure, which then can help us determine whether or not it's time to replace it or rehabilitate it, et cetera. So it's part science, part art at this point. And I think really what we've just seen here is an opportunity that's kind of in front of us and we don't want to miss out on.
Thank you.
Councilor Curry, did you ever hear a hand up, Mr. Mayor?
No.
Councilor Curry?
Through the chair, can you just timelines for me and memory? But am I correct in that on our capital plan for the next 3 to 5 years that you had the works program like this was coming up?
It was part of our intention to include it in our operations plan to move forward and in a 3-year operation plan.
Okay, so operation, yeah.
And so that was the intention. This grant provides us with an opportunity to bring in some funding, as well as we can dip into this grant funding twice, this same grant. So we get multiple opportunities until the funding runs out. And only 900,000 of the 3 million has been allocated at this point. So we have a pretty reasonable opportunity to get 2 opportunities into this, as well as the main idea here is to bring a continuity plan to council and then make the decision on how we want to move forward. This is just kind of, we understand the tight timelines with this grant, that we would like to have the opportunity to have 2 opportunities at it essentially.
So this was, sorry, can I follow up? So
Yep,
it was
go ahead.
already in the operating plan for the next 3 years. It's just sooner because we have access to funds.
And it'll gain us an opportunity to possibly test out a smaller version of it so that we can understand how it's going to be meaningful to us and how we want to expand from that within that operational funding.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have a question? I have the $25,000, is that for software that we're gonna use? Like, and then what I'm trying to figure out is the 25,000 we put, how much is the government's matching grant? Is that the 80,000? What was the percentage?
80% to a maximum of 50,000. So we would only need 12,500 to gain access to the full 50,000.
Okay,
The additional 12,500 covers the cost of the continuity plan to bring forward to council to provide a list of opportunities that we would be able to move forward with.
and if I'm reading right, it says software, so it's software we're gonna buy that's gonna help us, or am I misunderstanding that?
The software would expand our capacity in what we would be able to do with our current asset management plan.
Okay, perfect. Anyone else have any questions or concerns on this? Okay, if not, thank you for your report.
So thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the sundry, the non-resident property tax incentive bylaw 2246. Who's bringing that forward?
Good evening, council. This is just bringing back, I think the last committee meeting, I brought forward the first draft of the property tax incentive bylaw. There were some suggestions that came from council, as listed in the memo, to sort of enhance that bylaw a little bit. So I'm just bringing that now forward to show you that we have changed the 4 items that you were, that was sort of brought forward. That the assessment value change includes all the assessment, including land. I've added that 3-year expiry to the bylaw that was discussed. Clarify that the tax exemption starts the next taxation year after completion unless otherwise agreed upon. And that the bylaw take effect upon passing the 3rd reading. That's not in the actual bylaw because that's just the normal practice of bylaws. So that's not actually in there as an actual wording. So attached is that is the second draft of that bylaw. Also just a show of what the application form will look like. We've kept it very simple, and planning and finance will obviously work together on that for when things are completed, and then we'll check assessment, and we would obviously work together on that before it was approved to go forward. The other thing was, just wanted to talk with council about was, usually when we bring a bylaw, we do a first reading at one council meeting and then second and third reading at the next council meeting. Just wanted to discuss whether council would like us to bring it back next week for 3 readings, just to sort of expedite the implementation of the bylaw. So that was just the feedback I was wanting to know, again on the bylaw itself, and whether you're okay with how you want those readings to go.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Sarah, for your work on this and administration. One question and in answer to your question. The question is, so when will a developer be able to apply? I guess, what is the rule for which development would be eligible for this? So is it based on when the development permit is issued or when it's completed? Because, so say if somebody had a development that was completed at the end of 2019, would they still be able to apply for this program? Or what is the mechanism in place for that? And I think we should do all 3 readings next week. We've had this at committee. This will be the 2nd committee meeting. It's been publicized. I haven't received much feedback, only positive feedback on this. So I don't think we need to delay this. And I think it's really important at this point in time, we're still in the construction season, that it may spur some activity.
I think one of the things we spoke about, sorry, through the chair to Ms. Zahara, one of the things we spoke about at the meeting last week was that timeline of when it was going to be effective. And I understood it to be that once this was passed, you wanted it from then on. So it would only be development permits issued from the date that this is read. from the third reading of this. There wouldn't be any backdating on that. If you wanted it to include development permits from previous, we would need to have that stipulated in the bylaw.
Go ahead, follow up.
Yes, one follow-up to that. My concern is we have a major development going on right now, which I'm not sure if, I'm assuming a development permit has already been issued for that. And they're on a tight timeline, and that's why they started their development. I would hate for them to lose out on this opportunity. So I want to ensure that timelines are met, that anything that's going on during this COVID period also qualifies for that. Maybe it's a matter of development that has been completed in the 2020 year or 2021. I'm not sure how that would work. I just would hate for us not having this benefit for development that's ongoing like right now during the midst of this crisis.
Through the chair, Tony Zahara, I mean, we could do that with, have some wording change in 4.9 or add a 4.10, stating if you like, a development permits issued from March 1st or something to be valid for this. It's just how far do we go back, and someone misses out because they were 2 weeks before that or something, sort of depending on how far you'd like to go back. But we can definitely add that in to be, you know, that this would be effective of any permits issued since said date.
Yeah, and I would add to that, I think Mayor Zahara, you're concerned about that existing development has been satisfied with some commitments that have been made to that developer specifically.
Okay.
With those things in light, the feedback we received when we brought this forward last was that it would become effective on reading that one instance notwithstanding.
Okay.
Basically. Otherwise, it gets a little bit messy about when you
for
you
sure.
draw the line.
What my fault would be the same as echoing the mayor. We need to put a concrete date. We did discuss it because of like a hearing in the room. If you put it March 1st, well, the person that was February 28th. So we have to decide before we pass it. It's either for the 2020 year, do it January 1st, or after it's passed. And then we have to stipulate upon completion, because there is one major development going on, could be others, but there's other ones that were significant builds in town too, that were a complete rebuild. So we have to factor them all in, because no matter what we do, we're going to be wrong, because someone's going to say I'm short by a week, but we have to decide either as a passing or choose a date and stick to it. And I don't know if we can add that in.
Yeah, if I may, as I described before through to the deputy mayor, our feedback before I felt was very, very clear that council was all supportive of having it active on the date of final reading.
That's
so
what
unless there's been some significant will to change that, then administration is supportive of that as I think the clearest and most effective way to implement this new policy. The minute you start to backdate, I think you open the
Pandora's box.
a can of worms that is difficult to adjudicate. New policies come into effect all the time. When the policy comes into effect, it's in effect.
Councillor Wilkinson.
Through the chair. To me, it sort of looks like we're rushing doing the 3 readings at one time. And in that case, then I would much prefer that we had it issued from the beginning of this year, like from January of this year. And then there'd be no thought that we were rushing for any particular purpose.
Does someone want to respond to that? Councillor Barron, we haven't heard from you yet.
I have no problem with it as a third reading here and that. I think what it was explained by administration here, that once this was signed, we would go from there. And the project that we were talking about, we did this for them, but also for everybody else coming in. So I think we can do the third reading all in one shot and let's get it over. We start backdating again, we open up a whole new can of worms for everybody else and stuff like that. I don't think we want to go down that rabbit hole with that at all. So I'd rather go with the third readings at the next council meeting.
I'm fine with doing all 3 readings and having it take effect as long as the current development that's just got underway qualifies through our discussions with them. I'm not privy to those discussions, so it's easy to have people say you're rushing through things But people need certainty and decision-making, and I don't see a need to wait. We've already had public discussion on this for over a month now, and people have had ample time to provide feedback. So I'm good with all 3 readings next week.
Go ahead.
Thank you, and if I may just add to that as well, I think the timing of it is compounded by the fact that we are in our summer schedule, which means the next meeting is actually not for a little bit more than a month, which stretches out even longer than it normally would, in which case 2 weeks, we might suggest we just wait 2 weeks. In this case, administration is very supportive of, if we are going to do this, getting this into place as soon as possible to encourage business development in our community, I think it is a positive thing. Certainly agree with the fact that this has had ample time in the public arena for people to see, ask questions, share concerns with. Administratively, I don't believe we've received any public feedback specifically on this item.
Okay, so just to follow up, are we clear? Like, I like the idea on there, but then when we're backing up to other development, is there any parameters that is complete from the date of your development permit, et cetera? Because we've left that open. I can't find where exactly vague that if we pass it the next council meeting, then it becomes law, bylaw as of that date. But where we're developing other ones that are in progress, if they fit in or not, do we have a parameter set up to say?
It would only be on development permits issued after the date of 3rd reading.
Okay, so we have that in stone, so then I don't have a problem passing it, because then we're fair to everybody. Anyone else have a concern? Council Wilkinson.
Through the chair, I'd just like to compliment you, Sarah. I really like this 1-page application. You know, when they say getting rid of red tape, well, good. That's nice. And also highlighting the changes. I'm a visual person, so I like that. Thank you.
Okay, so we're all clear. Thank you,
All
Sarah.
right, so I'll bring this back as is, for 3 readings next week.
I believe so.
It's the packet.
Yes. Okay, I guess there would be a time if we had any questions, concerns. They're normally emailed in or text in or something, however people had questions or meeting. Nothing? Okay, so we don't have any questions, so I guess then we will move into camera then. So can we get a motion? Councillor Byer, all in favor? Those opposed? Thanks. Sure. Okay, can I get a motion for adjournment? Councillor Bevins, all those in favor? Passed.